Get into your body's vitals with the Vitals app on Apple Watch.
I wanna get into my body and let my skin do the talking. I wanna feel like I'm myself again.
The Vitals app tracks key overnight metrics so you can spot changes in your health before you feel them. The Vitals app on Apple Watch. iPhone XS or later required. The Vitals app is for wellness purposes only and not for medical use.
I wanna get into my body.
The spirit of innovation is deeply ingrained in America, and Google is helping Americans innovate in ways both big and small. The Air Force Research Laboratory is partnering with Google Cloud using AI to accelerate defense research for air, space, and cyberspace forces. This is a new era of American innovation. Find out more at g.co/American innovation.
Welcome back to another episode, another week of the Record Report. As always, it's Ahmad.
And it's your boy Vance B.
And this week, Vance and I did a little deviation like we do every once in a while. This week, we're doing another B-sides. We felt like we've been doing album after album after album after album, and now it's time to just jump in, tune in, see what's going on with the world. So we have our topics of the current happenings. I will also say, hit us on social media. The chat is up, so if you're on here live, you can type in. You can also email us talking points whenever we do our B-sides. You can email us at recordreport.podcast.com and just send us stuff, send us suggestions for the next B-side. Vance, how you feeling, man?
I'm pretty good, man. I'm doing well. You know what I'm saying? My year, hustling and surviving. You know what I'm saying? Thugging and striving. Good times.
Ain't that the truth?
Yeah.
The truth?
Yeah, a lot of shit going on in these news streets. You know what I'm saying? A lot of shit going on. Honestly.
Man, speaking of it, I guess we got to start with the Puff trial, man. The Puff trial. I've been actually thinking about it. I want to hear your thoughts on all of this. So, I'm not a news reporter. You are more in the news world than I am, so probably you can run it down better than me. But I have been following it. This was a freaky dude, man.
Yes,
This was a wild. He was a wild man, bro.
Yes,
Me and my wife talking about it. It's pretty crazy the stuff that he was accused of. And
yes.
I think Kid Cudi said it best, and he was like, "Yeah, he was just standing around like he was a Marvel villain." And I said, "That's what I thought reading about all of this stuff." What was your take on it? Just going through all the stories of the past week and a half now.
For a while, I knew a lot about Diddy's discretions because there's a book that came out a while ago that one of our professors told us to read about Diddy's, progressions.
Really? It's the Mark Carey book?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Deal with the devil. My brother told me about it.
Yes, because I actually heard about it from your brother later on. And I was like, oh shit, like, okay. So I knew a lot about Diddy's discretions beforehand, but we didn't necessarily have legal bindings that confirm some of these things. And now we're actually getting a lot of these details.
Yeah.
Also, I heard about Cassie's relationship. Now, she didn't dig as deep into the details because, there's only so much that she could reveal after leaving Diddy. But her fucking week testifying was brutal. And
it wasn't a full week. Wasn't it just 2 days? Am I tripping? Was it 2 days? Was it longer than that?
It's been 2 weeks.
No, for her testifying.
Her testifying was a week. So
she didn't have a full week. I don't think
she was there only for a week.
I don't think she had a full week. I think she just had 2 days.
Yes, she only had a couple of days. Excuse me.
Yeah, okay.
But I'm saying it's the first week to confirm.
The first week, got it. Unless she meant like she was testifying the whole week. That's brutal.
No. Yeah, that's
brutal.
especially since she was very pregnant. But yeah, she testified, and even in those couple of days, like the details about their relationship was harrowing. I liked what the prosecutor Shin was doing when they were trying to focus more on how this relationship was related to the racketeering. But man, it was not looking good for the prosecution, despite the fact that it seemed like they had one day that they were actually getting shit. They had shit in line. It was specifically the day where Cassie admitted to saying, not admitted to saying this, but she texted Diddy, and the text was revealed that she likes what was happening if it was mutual.
Mm-hmm.
But even throughout the testimony, she was saying a lot of that shit was not mutual, and it felt more like a job,
Mm-hmm.
instead of it being a relationship or a fight for his love. Because
Mm-hmm.
he was also not only probably dealing with other women, but specifically, I think Kim Porter. I think that what is her
Yeah,
name?
on
She
and
the
off.
name
Yeah, he on and off Kim Porter.
on and off. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and even when she died, like I don't know if they were still in that. They were still together. Oh no, they weren't. It was still around that time that Cassie and Diddy were kind of separating, and when she died, he was still talking about her. So it kind of seemed like that was still an ongoing thing in the midst of their relationship.
Yeah.
And even in the text, she said that she feels like she's more of a girl, a kind of like a side chick for his fantasies than an actual girlfriend or
Mm-hmm.
something more than just his side thing. And aside from the relationship in the several instances of abuse that she's faced against Diddy that was testified in the court case, there was also a lot of relations to the business itself
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to specifically how she actually, got to know Diddy and got signed to Bad Boy, and also how he was kind of in charge of her music at one point, and then also the things that she did, the actions that she made while a lot of these things were happening, and how these things were related to the record labels. Um,
Yeah. I mean,
so
he had a
yeah,
lot of power over her. You know, she was in a 10 album deal
yeah,
when she was 20, 21.
yep.
And I know
No, she
based on,
signed at 19. I
she
think
was
did she
19,
sign at 19?
something like it was young. It was in that age range. And I think most people probably thought she was actually signing a record deal, but over time, I think they could change to something more. And it sounded like from all of the testimony for the past 2 weeks that he would often be like, "Hey, I will ruin your career and release these tapes." Um, and there's some really just really awful shit. And I don't want to lean. I don't want to go after like recall every single thing. You can go on YouTube or whatever and like read it or listen to it. Someone else, some people far more educated on the law than we are can talk about this.
Yes,
I will
yes,
say one thing that was really upsetting, not upsetting, because I kind of expect this level of idiocracy that we live in. Motherfuckers was giving Cassie the blues for testifying. From first and foremost, she was subpoenaed, just like Kid Cudi
right,
was subpoenaed. Stupid ass young thug.
right,
They had a federal subpoena saying you had to testify. Yeah, they cooperated, but you don't want to smoke with the federal government when they call you to
right,
testify.
right.
You see
Especially
what I'm
this
saying?
federal government.
You see what I'm saying? So the federal government they had to testify, and I think the people was like, "Oh my God, Cassie was enjoying it. She was this, she was that." She said she enjoyed it, but I'm like, bro, if she said she enjoyed it on one thing, but the next joint she said she's not enjoying it, why can't both things be true?
Right,
In
right,
both things, if someone's is so when she said she was enjoying it, let's just take it at face value. Yeah, sure, she's right. Boom, boom, boom. But when she tells him repeatedly that she is not enjoying it, that she wants to get out of it, and then he would start threatening her, why does that not get the same level of analysis as people was giving? Like, yo, I feel so sorry for her husband. I'm like, you stupid motherfuckers, you don't think you talked about this first?
right.
She was pissing me off. I was really getting upset. Like, I can't believe these motherfuckers got the same. I'm trying to stop cussing as much. These idiots have the exact same agency that we have to say stuff. Like, I don't know, man. It was really frustrating. Really sad to see the scrutiny that she got is more than the scrutiny he is getting, especially around men. So it's really upsetting to witness. And he's. I want to love to hear your point about this, your thought about this. I've been thinking about this a lot. Like talking to my wife about this because she knows someone that's moving up in a position, and sometimes people can just tell her. Sometimes people change when they get like a new position. You ever been around somebody and it was cool with you, then they get promotion, and now they're like a a drill sergeant. I'm like, yo, we was just doing
We were
stupid
just in the
stuff out.
trenches.
Like, you know what I mean? We were just doing stupid
Yeah,
stuff, and now you got the
yeah.
title, your flow is changing. I think power does change people, and I think it also like emboldens whatever stuff you got on is not checked. I think, man, just my own psychoanalysis situation. I think Puff is trying to be in an escape mode from whatever he got at all times, and I think the money, none of the other stuff makes him happy. I think the power that he gets from the situations is something that he does. And I think he just reacts off that, and he's always high, just based on what he was saying. Always high, always inebriated, and always very, very, very confrontational and violent to protect this escapism that he enjoys and controlling people. It's sick, man. And you would think with that much money, you would go and get some help, but it's not how power works. It's not how power works. So it's really sad, man.
It is. It is. And to your point about I guess this whole situation at hand, I just think the fact that we do have such we have multiple generations that see on the other side and don't really see the women's perspective, and the fact that they are testifying the truth in court.
Mm-hmm.
You can go to jail for lying on the stand. The fact that they are telling the truth about this, and the fact that you're going the other direction and saying, "No, these things aren't true," or they trying to hold down the black man, like you doing this shit for the wrong person. Like a lot of these things have been testified in court has been said in the streets for a while. You want to bring it to the streets, but now these things are being confirmed, and now you want to be skeptical about it. You know, and I just feel like it's unfortunately a part of this patriarchal society that we actually have, and the fact that a lot of guys are mad at women. There was one specific thing, and ironically, I got this source from Mr. McMahon, the WWE film. There was
Mm-hmm.
one scene that really was uncomfortable for me to watch, but it made me like I learned something from it, and it was specifically how Vince McMahon and the crowd during, I guess, a recording of Raw, like a live show, they kind of stripped down this woman in more than one way, and specifically the commentary for it was about how a lot of guys feel like a woman who might be happy or who might be successful or more successful than them, they feel inferior to that. And for that, they try to strip those things away from them and strip their achievements and their success, their
Mm.
happiness, strip those things away from them to bring them down to their shitty level and make them feel that same way in order for them to feel equal. And
Mm.
they use that commentary to explain that scene. And for me, it was uncomfortable, but I learned because we see that now with a lot of this just gender war shit and a lot of this content currently. Whether it's the guy talking on the street saying, he feels confident, he brings in good money, he does all these man roles, or like other cases, you might have women say that niggas ain't shit, and
Yeah.
I'm just being honest. You do have good women, and you have good men that don't believe that shit and trying to find their own journey in this world. But when you got a lot of this noise happening, it eventually affects you, and we're seeing how honestly this idiocracy is playing a role into this court case to kind of
Mm-hmm.
bring anything back into perspective. And I think aside from the details that we are seeing in this case, even with the assistant that recently testified this week,
Yeah.
like, and I'm pretty sure if you're listening to this,
Capricorn
he's gonna be
Clark.
old. Yes, like
Mm-hmm.
even with some of the stories that she has about how Diddy talked about how she couldn't get a man and told Cassie to come in and sit down and stand up and like do all of this shit. And that's why you can't get a man because you're controlling. Unfortunately, there are niggas in this world that believe that that's how women should act. And that's fucked up, man. And just like Diddy, you need help, nigga. You need help. You need fucking help.
Yeah,
Read a
yeah,
book,
and
and you also
also
need help.
they also need accountability because you listen to these stories, nobody is like telling like, "Hey, yo, chill, man." You just hearing all these people like D Rock was Biggie's man, and D Rock was his name keep coming up. D Rock, D Rock, D Rock. D Rock was Biggie's man. That he been around Puff since through Big. You would think he got some level to be like, hey yo man, chill out. What are you doing? Like you would think somebody can be like, hey man, you doing too much. And maybe they did. Maybe they didn't do it in front of people. I don't know. But it doesn't sound like nobody was like checking them. Again, Power will do that because he'll tell you I'll ruin you. And I'm pretty sure because Capricorn Clark, she said it. He was like, the only reason she went back to work with him is because he stopped her ability to work anywhere else. He like no matter where else she would go, they would say you can't work here or stop the Diddy stuff. She said Jimmy Iovine, so they're like leave that Diddy stuff alone, but I'm not gonna hire you.
Right.
Yeah, like essentially she just got blackballed, and then he was the only one like, "Hey, I'll pay you a job." He wasn't even paying that much money. I think she said 55K at one point in time, which is like that's not a lot of money.
That
I
ain't
don't care
shit.
what year it was, especially
Yeah.
you sleeping. You barely sleeping. You working around the clock.
That's average in the
Um,
2000s.
True. I mean, she did also get
Maybe
a
earlier.
house, apartment, and car, and
Okay,
cell
so
phones
that
paid for it too. So maybe it does
okay.
balance out. But
Yeah.
I don't know, man. He has a theme of controlling people, which people like that is I'm not surprised for. Again, the power. I got that power over every part of your life. He run around with guns. I don't know, man. You wish people like that got help because he had all the access and resources to do so. At any point in time, he could have been like, all right, let me get my shit together. Let me, you know what I'm saying? And he never did that, and destroyed his legacy.
Yeah. Yeah.
He already had question marks on his legacy.
Yes,
This
it
does
did.
not help.
For
This does not help
decades.
for
For fucking
decades.
decades. Like, let's
Yeah, for
stop playing,
decades.
bruh.
Yeah.
Y'all, like, a lot of y'all, like, and I'm not, let me take that back. Let me take that back. A lot of people, because I
Hmm.
don't think I think our listeners are a little bit smart, especially if they fuck with us, especially if they've been fucking with us for a while.
This long, right? You
So,
would think so, right? Yeah.
right, right. But a lot of people in this world, they act like Diddy. They have their own transgressions and their own mannerisms that are similar to Diddy. And in some way, they relate to that shit.
Yeah.
You need help, my nigga. Diddy might
Yeah.
not be able to do this shit, but you need help, my nigga. And just
Yeah.
fucking say it. It's okay to say it.
Yeah. You're right. It's okay to say it.
But back to this fucking case, man. Like even the to kind of reinforce my statement about how these things have been talked about before. Kid Cudi's car blowing up. We talked
Hmm.
about that shit since we
That
heard
was
about it
crazy.
back in 2011, 2010. I'm
Hmm.
probably getting the
Hmm.
years wrong. But
Yeah, it's
like we've
crazy.
heard about that shit for a while. And we joked around. Oh, Kid Cudi got his car blown up. Now we're hearing this shit in court. How is this shit untrue? They've been subpoenaed, right?
Yeah, he got subpoenaed.
So why the fuck? What? Why? Why are we saying that this shit is not true? And
I
still cracking
do.
jokes.
I,
I digress.
I do wonder if he's going to get off though.
That has been a highly searched topic about whether Trump would pardon them, especially since they have a
Why I
previous
wasn't even talking
relationship.
about that part, but 100,
Oh, okay.
you already know you already know his backup plan is like how much it costs. Nigga, I will give you double
right,
that. You know
right,
what I
right.
mean? Yeah, he will double whatever Trump is asking for and just live off. You're not gonna sell his. You're not gonna sell his masters, and he's gonna find out. He don't carve out a lane to still be around. He gonna still have money. His money is legal, so they can't take all of it.
Yeah,
Them
yeah,
lawsuits might cut into him though, because you're gonna get
yeah.
a bunch of lawsuits. You can't pardon lawsuits. Um, they might hit his pockets like that. But I'm thinking from a perspective of everything they said so much so far. A lot of it is hearsay, and it's just people saying the same thing. And they're trying to build a case about you was using fear tactics because you was so brutal, this, that, and the third. And I'm sure his defense will get up there and be like, everybody that dissed him, here's positive messages they said recently. Here's like Dawn was on his album that he put out which I absolutely thought was a great album, by the way. I haven't listened to it since the shit came out, but
Yeah.
Dawn was on that album, right? I don't know what correspondence him and Cassie had, but I'm sure there's something. So I would imagine his defense is going to bring up a bunch of people who was around that same time. I was like, he was going through X, Y, and Z. He probably needed got help. He probably had a drug issue, but he wasn't doing extortion, and he didn't. Also, the arson joint, they didn't really tie to him. There's no evidence tying him to the actual thing.
So
He wasn't there when it was the thing caught on fire. It wasn't the same day they was there. It was a different time. It was in that same time frame, but it wasn't that exact same day that he was there. So
that's actually what they focused on today in court.
yeah,
Specifically, the defense was trying to count. They were trying to call this court case a mistrial, specifically because they were trying to insinuate that the officer that was on duty was trying to affect the evidence. Specifically, the thumb case that was destroyed, or the thumbprint that was destroyed. You know what I'm saying? So they tried to count that as a mistrial, which did not go well. Once again, this shit is on the internet, so you can go look this shit up. But
yeah,
yeah, like this, even though they can't connect a lot of the things to specifically racketeering, I think the relationship with Cassie and then also what the sex workers have been saying are
that's a good
clear
point too.
indications of racketeering, because they're talking about specifically the logistics of the freak offs, and specifically, I guess this incident is a certain level of wrath or a certain level of a threat that they're trying to focus in on, and how this threat was executed.
That's a good point. I can see that. I can see that taking them down. Maybe not the full everything, but at least that part. That's interesting. I don't know. We shall see, man. I just hope people out there get help, because
Please get help.
it does suck hearing how he would just be beating these people so brutally, man, and people would just be standing around doing nothing and threatening Capricorn Clark, saying he actually, it wasn't a threat, taking her to an abandoned house in New York and giving her a lie detector test of 444 to 5 days,
Right.
and telling her that if she lies, she'll get thrown in the East River. Like,
There's the shit with Danielle
what the fuck is
Wilson.
doing?
She wrote that shit in. She wrote that shit. She wrote about
Mm,
her experience with Diddy, and like there was one cover that he didn't like, and she was going to use it, and he
mm-hmm.
threatened her. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And she had to call security, and talk to her lawyers and shit. Like, this shit is documented, so it's clear that he used like threats and violence as a form of intimidation to get what he wants. You know what I'm saying? But like, just like that brother needs help, man. Like, if you're rocking for this dude right now, despite the fact that there's a lot of evidence that shows that there is something deeper about Diddy that needs to be fixed, you need to get help, bro. You need to get help,
yeah,
for real.
yeah. Also, I'm also a big believer in redemption, and
Yeah.
if he really wants to get his life together, I hope that he does do the work to do so. I don't
Yes.
know if that's something he actually wants to do or he actually tried to. It
Yes.
does make me call into question all of the brother love stuff for the past few years, like he was trying to clean it up, but that didn't work. And I don't think it's going to get better in the next 2 weeks. I think the next 2 weeks gonna get worse. I think they'll get further inside and inside, and just paint this picture of this really unstable, brutal, but violent man who was just doing whatever he want for this time frame. Um, that's what the power allowed him to do that, So it's crazy. Speaking of court cases and people in
that's
jail,
that's a crazy
you
segue.
you brought up in the chat the short guy from Toronto
Hey, with no hairline.
with no hairline. You want to discuss Daystar Peterson? Yeah, his name.
Wow. Yeah, that's his government.
You wanted to
That's
talk
his
about
government.
Daystar Peterson and the new developments around his case.
Quote unquote new. You know what I'm saying? All right,
Mhm.
specific. All right, so let's break this shit down. A couple weeks ago, first of all, it was in the news that Tory Lanez got stabbed in prison. Um, pretty brutal case. He was stabbed 14 times. Now there's shocking prison video at this date and time that we're recording this. There's actual video that has came out that that shows the moment that he was stabbed. But alongside this, pretty much Tory Lanez lawyers came out about one new evidence in the case of Tory Lanez, um, specifically regarding a ring alarm, the camera that was used, and two, uh, harrowing and breaking news that the security guard or Tory Lanez security guard overheard a conversation that specifically, and let me get this correct. Uh, Kelsey, the girl that was with Megan Thee Stallion during this incident, was the one that pulled the firearm and shot Megan. Um, Let me be very clear. This is according to Billboard. Both of these things have been used in court when it originally happened. So specifically for the court case that literally sent Tory Lanez to jail and proved that he was guilty, both of these things were actually used. The ring alarm camera was used and it captured the sound of the gunshots, not necessarily what happened and who pulled the firearm. And then number two, what the bodyguard said, he did testify that. He did, well, I want to say he testified it, but he did say that to prosecutors and defense. But he was not at the scene of the shooting. That is specifically through Billboard. That's the source. If I get it wrong, go check the source. Correct me in the comments, for real, because I don't want to fuck that up. But that's specifically what I read in Billboard when it all happened. What the effect is that now you have people coming out the woodworks and saying that this new evidence should bring Tory Lanez out of jail, which makes no fucking sense. Because both of these things have been documented and both of these things have been used in the court of law. And now you're starting to have people try to say that because Tory Lanez is in jail, he was in jail, or he's guilty, and in the case that specifically made him guilty is bullshit, and he's a black man in jail. And now you're starting to have Republicans talk about this, which is not really, it's not really the ordinary. You know what I'm saying? And it feels like a lot of people are kind of riding with these thoughts because, quote unquote, just like Diddy, the black man he's being held down. Dog, the fact that people are still talking about this case makes no fucking sense. The fact that both Megan's lawyers and Megan Thee Stallion has to come out and say, like, why are y'all still arguing about this? And it's kind of like, it's kind of hindering her career at this point. It's stupid, man. We've already been through this before. He's guilty. Why are we doing this shit? It just doesn't make sense. But yes, that specifically was kind of the latest in this situation. And then now also the stabber is now talking to media now, according to the report.
Yeah,
But yeah, it's a
yeah.
lot of shit going
I actually
on.
hate that thing about this time and when people do stuff like that. Now they get the microphone to explain their stupid actions.
Yeah.
Like,
It's so stupid.
yeah,
You just I mean, I get you in jail and he's in jail for life. So it's like, I guess, like, it doesn't really matter to you, but at the same time, like, bruh, like, you coming out to the media after doing the shit, bro, like, this is wild. And the video came out, bruh, that, like, yeah, this is a crazy story. I do hope that brother survives and can kind of still see the next day, but at the same
same.
time, that nigga did what he did. Let's just keep it a buck. He did what he did. That, like, he is proven guilty in the court of law. Like, even with Diddy currently, he still has the right to due process.
Yeah,
Let's
I
stop
mean,
fucking around, bro.
even the story even a story that he's trying to give off that he didn't tell to protect somebody else doesn't make sense. And no one is going to listen to that shit and be like, so the person who you barely knew, that you weren't even really with, you were protecting her. So that way your defense attorneys never approached this in a way to defend you. They couldn't figure out no way, even though you didn't do it, but you know who did do it. I don't know, man. I kind of find that hard to believe. Also, his music was not that good, and it's so frustrating. Everybody's acting like his shit was just slapping, and he's like a political prisoner, and he's trying to take down. Like, no, he made some bops. He was popular during the pandemic.
Yep.
He had contagious energy. People really liked him. Drake didn't even get to do songs with him when he was out, and now that's his man. So, nah, dog, I don't even. The man did it, bro. And if he didn't do it, his dumb self put him in that situation to be in that situation. So either way, he's at where he got himself. So I mean, deal with accountability, dog.
Ain't no if he didn't do it. The DNA specialist said that 90% of the evidence was a man that had that motherfucking firearm. That nigga did it. Like, let's stop playing. Like,
yeah. I agree. I agree.
Stop being stupid. Like, just please stop.
They can't help themselves, dog. My point was, even if your theory, yeah, I know for sure.
We fuck with y'all. We like y'all.
My theory was, even if they are right with that theory that he didn't do it and he's protecting, like even the whole thing is right, his stupid self still deserved to be in there because that was this dumb way to handle it. And he put himself in a situation. That was just stupid.
Right.
And then he was on social media making fun of her, teasing her. Like, come on, son. Like, what are we doing here?
And then you dropping a fucking album and trying to explain your fucking situation. And then even in the lyrics, you talk about how you was trying to holler at Kendall
Jenner? Whatever.
One of the family. You know what I'm saying? And then but Megan's around and she's the main black girl. It was so stupid. It was stupid. You know what I'm saying?
It was stupid. It was stupid. That don't make no sense.
To a point where you have publications saying, hey, yo, we're not reviewing this album. Like, this is not fucking, like, it's not cool to do. You got journalists turning away from your shit.
Rightfully so. It's the right thing to do.
You need to be held accountable. And the fact that you're proven guilty only shows that you have, like, now you have to be held accountable for your actions. I do hope that you live. I do hope that you see another day. I do hope that you one day come home, but you got to be held accountable for your actions. And the fact that a lot of you guys are riding for that shit, bro. Like, stop, bro. It's like, stop. Read a book, nigga.
You look crazy.
Go look at actual real publications, my nigga. Like, stop looking at whatever the fuck you looking at now, because this media is not helping you.
I think that's actually one of the issues, man. We don't have good hip hop media. You know what I mean? You used to read the source, and then you be able to draw your own conclusions. You read the Excel or just read an article, or whatever. Now, like, they go to academics, they go to the streamers, they go to whoever's on the internet, and 9 times out of 10, they don't have the journalistic integrity to try to tell the truth. They just out here, whatever makes sense for them to continue to build their numbers up and get their clout going. So they're not trying to inform people. They're just trying to, like, how do I keep you engaged? Yeah. So I don't know, man. It's a web better.
You may get a little excited when you shop at Burlington.
What a low price! Do you see that? They have my favorite brand! It's like a whole new Burlington! I can buy 2!
I'm saving so much! Yeah!
Burlington saves you up to 60% off other retailers' prices every day. Will it be the low prices or the great brands? Burlington. Deals? Brands? Wow! I told you so. Styles and selections vary by store.
With a Venmo debit card, you can Venmo more than just your friends. You can use your balance in so many ways. You can Venmo everything. Need gas? You can Venmo this. How about snacks? You can Venmo that. Your favorite band's merch? You can Venmo this. Or their next show? You can Venmo that. Visit Venmo.me/debit to learn more.
You can Venmo this, or you can Venmo that. You can Venmo this, or you can Venmo that. You can Venmo.
The Venmo MasterCard is issued by the Bancorp Bank N.A. pursuant to license by MasterCard International Incorporated. Card may be used everywhere MasterCard is accepted. Venmo purchase restrictions apply.
Twitter X is the perfect place for it because it's a cesspool. So it's
Yeah,
trash. It's
yeah, it
trash.
is. It is. Like
Yeah,
that's the. Speaking of streamers, you know what I'm saying? We can
yeah.
go ahead and
Perfect
talk about
segue.
motherfucking streaming university and shit. You know what I'm
What
saying?
was your thought on it?
Okay, I will say this. I was locked in the streaming university all weekend. I know I'm the old ass nigga that was looking into the shit, but as a journalist and with journalist integrity, I had to look through
You
several
had to.
videos on TikToks that I really
Didn't have a
didn't want
choice.
to. Didn't have a choice, unfortunately. It was a lot of dirty macking happening. It was a lot of ratchetness happening. Granted, these are kids. A lot of
Yeah.
the streamers that were there, they were kids. They were at the
Mm-hmm.
University of Akron. It was overall, it was a fun experience. There are a lot of situations that made me ask myself, is some of these situations actually real? Case in
Mm-hmm.
point, DDG throwing DDG the entire weekend was fucking insane. Uh, he he had a relationship with another professor. He kicked one girl out because he found out she was 19. Shit. He threw a party that wasn't necessarily confirmed, kind of confirmed, because he talked to Casanat beforehand, but then all of a sudden he didn't get the permission and kept going. He got fired, but he was still there on campus for some reason. There was a lot of shit going on with that nigga, bro. I ain't gonna lie. It kind of showed me that, and then he had a class. This nigga had a class about internet beef, and then he boxed up
mm,
one of his niggas in class, like one of the
mm,
students in class. It's a lot of shit going on. But on the other hand, you had another teacher that was actually teaching people like real shit, specifically the YouTube algorithm and how he made money and how he used TikTok as a platform to introduce people to his other YouTube and Instagram platforms, the platforms that monetize. So it
mm-hmm.
seemed like it was part conference, part overall stream, content stream. And it was cool to see that you had so many people streaming and so many different ways to tap into streaming university through different perspectives. You had one girl that was being made fun of, but she actually made a friend there and they made content together that went viral. It was really
Mm-hmm.
cool to actually see kind of like NABJ, but specifically on the streamer level. And of course,
That's a
with
good
a
way to look
younger
at it.
demographic comes a lot of shit that goes with it. Now,
Yeah.
specifically, the whole Casa not shutting down a party thing, I don't know if that was real or not. I don't know specifically if his thing being called a failure was real, because the fact that Drake showed up at the end was a little kind of weird for me and a little harrowing. You know what I'm saying? But it seemed like because of the entire weekend and the eyeballs that it brought to different platforms across the entire weekend, I really
Mm-hmm.
think that there is something there. I do think that there are specific mannerisms that need to be approached and checked at the door when it comes
Yeah,
to a lot of the relationships that are there. But
I
overall,
agree
it
with
seemed
that.
like a really cool experience, and it kind of seemed like, aside from the many rappers that were there, there was the Jiggy 1-2 stepping out about Kid Jiggy. That nigga was there, and of course DDG being there. There was a lot of rappers and artists that took advantage of it. Um, you also had Drake that came out of nowhere with, you know, thanking everybody for being there and congratulations, you were there and showing up for the after party. It seems like this nigga is trying to get into streaming a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, he showed his face there, and that also became news as well over the weekend. But overall, uh, if he does it again, then
Mm-hmm.
hopefully it's better to a point where it is actually professional, but
Mm-hmm.
still at the same time a form of content that everybody could look at the same way that it was
You think
this
you're
week.
gonna do it again? You think it's worth it?
I honestly don't know, because there were
Mm-hmm.
parts of it that showed me that it was stressful. There were parts of it before it actually happened that showed me that people were saddened about the news of them not being in. There were rumors about how a relationship that Kasana had in his earlier streams with this girl kind of
Mm-hmm.
hindered her opportunity to be a part of streaming university. There was a lot of gossip and rumors that floated around that kind of seemed like this was a lot more stressful to him than planned. And even with the party being thrown, I don't know necessarily if that was real or not. And the fact that DDG was fired and shit like that, I don't know if that was real or not. I don't know if this whole thing was actually so stressful to a point that it was that he's not going to do it again. But
Yeah.
when you look at the success that it brought in and the kind of cultural movement that it had over the weekend for that younger generation, I think that it could be possible that he could do it again.
I wouldn't be surprised if he moved it to a network the next time, just to help split the cost.
That would be dope. Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder what he's gonna do. How he's gonna
Like,
do it, but
if
yeah,
I will say this, if it was an actual conference and it was like everything was real and there was a certain, like if it was like I hate to bring this back up, but the Revolt Summit, like if it was like that but with content and like this new generation and people had to pay to actually get in aside from them being invited, I think that would be the sweet spot for it, because it's a
yeah,
mixture of being professional, but then also on top of that, you're creating content with people, and there's a certain level of camaraderie that is there, as well as professionalism. I think that this was kind of more of a free for all, because you have professors fucking each other and like relationships. I was like, what? I don't want to know all this. What's happening in the news? You know what I'm saying?
man, I'm so happy you watched it because I had no fucking clue what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I'm so happy to hear you walked. You definitely did it. You got to give us condolences to Sasha Jenkins and his family.
Yeah. Rest
Sasha
in peace.
Jenkins is a famed hip hop writer. I believe he wrote for The Source, XXL, Vibe, Essence, a couple other publications. Um, he really was like an elder stations of hip hop, and he helped like usher in that wave of hip hop journalists who actually was journalists. He was a really important factor to like a lot of hip hop ways the culture blossomed in a certain time. So kudos to him and his family, man. Condolences.
Rest in peace, man. He was born in Philadelphia, but he lived in Silver Spring, Maryland, which is literally
I
right
didn't
up
know
the
that.
street. I'm looking at his Wikipedia, so grain of salt. But yeah, he's DMV bred, you know what I'm saying? He's also the kind of mentor to Elliot Wilson. I think it's just
It's true.
I think his death is important because, like you said, there are a lot of people who want to be hip hop journalists, but they're not doing the work and having the same level of integrity that us journalists have to have in this game. And let me be very clear: hip hop journalism is, in some ways, a thankless job if you're not in front of the spotlight. So it is always it is always an important decision to make when you are going to delve into this realm, because despite the fact that you may have great interviews and the fact that you might have spotlights, you also got to deal with what comes to that in both relationships in real life, as well as what happens in the business world that might affect the people that you work with and work for.
That's a
So
good point.
I do think that as we continue to move into this new era of hip hop journalism and music journalism altogether, I do think that it is important for us to understand what a lot of these former and current journalists bring to the game in popular ways. Not popular ways, but more I should potent ways, in order for us to continue this art form as we see continues to be under siege by both an administration as well as just the level of access that we get now. But I do feel like with this loss, we lost a real journalist, and as
Yeah.
we get older, I guess it's important for us, not only as journalists, but then also as content creators, to make music, or not music, but make music content that is relevant, important, and most importantly, informative. I think that that's important. No matter how entertaining it may be, no matter how wild it's supposed to get, I think that I feel like for this show alone, it's our duty to be informal, to be as accurate as we can, while still being able to be entertaining and make you laugh while you're at work or while you're working out or while you're in the car. So I think with Sasha Jenkins, first of all, rest in peace. I appreciate what you brought to this culture because you did, and you were able to document the levels of culture. And it would be cool to go back to your previous work just to read and find out,
Yeah.
I could be a better writer from your
Yeah.
work. But I also know that with this passing, it's another sign that I and even we as a podcast have to work harder at being informal to the community and to the culture when it comes to this music shit. Because there's so many people that are making money off of not doing that shit at all. And it's annoying as fuck. So we got to be the right ones to actually keep it informal. And we might not always get it right because we are human beings. You know what I'm saying? Even with technology, shit might not work, but there's a duty that still needs to be held, and we got to do our best to do it.
You're right, man. You're absolutely right, man. 100%.
Yeah. Rest in peace to Sasha Jenkins, though, man. Legend.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. I
Dang.
digress. Let's get into some other shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yo, did Joey TDE? Did you follow all of this stuff?
Okay, I've been catching up on this. I've listened to Ray Vaughn's album, and I also listened to a few tracks that Joey did. And Joey kind of won that shit,
Kinda.
in my
Ab
opinion.
Soul new song is tough. Ab Soul new song is fire.
I did
But
hear
I think
that.
it's kind of late.
Yeah, I
I think
agree.
it's kind of late.
I agree.
I think it's kind of late.
Joey was
Yeah.
doing this shit for a whole year now, and
Yeah.
he kind of went Super Saiyan in the spring, man. Like he kicked off to another level. There was a lot of filler in between the tracks, you know what I'm saying? But he was still consistent to a point where if he wasn't rapping about this
Yeah.
beef, he was still performing. You know what I'm saying? He was still out here in these streets showing his face. You know what I'm saying? He was still talking shit about TDE. And these recent tracks, dog,
Yeah, these tracks was crazy.
like Crash Dummies, bruh. I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
He going hard. But I will say that Ray Vaughn, despite the fact that he might have lost this spar match or this battle, his album is very good. You know what I'm saying?
I listened to it when he's in front of like the corner store ordering food,
Yeah.
like the cover.
Yeah.
I use the word like loosely. I like Ray Vaughn, but he does remind me of like a louder Kendrick.
Yes.
Yeah, so sometimes I just be like, I don't want to hear this loud. Dude, rap like he Kendrick, bro.
I did see him live. I think him live shows his differences compared to Kendrick, because I think I kind of felt the same way when he dropped that track with Pusha T, which was very dope, but it still kind of felt like you could still smell some Kendrick on it. You know what I'm saying? And I no disrespect to Ray Vaughn, but I think when I saw him live, I became more of a fan because I could see naturally how he performs a lot of these songs, and specifically some of the songs in his set list actually was different from what Kendrick was producing at the time. At the time he performed, I think it was like right before Roots Picnic, so Not Like Us didn't come out yet.
Yeah.
So
interesting.
I do think that he still has a journey to go in the rap game, and he still got to find a way to differentiate himself. But I do think that with the album that he produced this year, it might go kind of it might kind of go under the radar. But I do think that it is a banger within itself. There are some tracks on there that I did take.
Yeah, and I trust TDE to figure out. They have consistently done it where they found a way for their artists to be in the perfect lane at some point in time.
Even Absol.
Even Absol. Yep. So I have faith they'll do it. Your take on Cardi B's music career is very interesting. Can you explain it a little bit?
Wow, I can't believe I'm so invested in Cardi B. Goddamn. Nah. So, all right. First of all, I gotta say, Cardi B's album, "Invasion of Privacy," is still a banger. I still play "Drip" in the clubs. It's a nice little low punch. You know what I'm saying, when I'm trying to get the crowd and shit. But I will say that recently she's been in the news, not necessarily because of what she's doing. She
Uh-huh.
actually got she's actually supposed to be hosting WWE SummerSlam later this year. But she was recently in the news with being with Patriots receiver Stephon Diggs.
Uh-huh.
And on top of that, they were seen together at a basketball game, and it kind of seems like they're dating. I don't.
Uh-huh.
There are other details that I don't really want to talk about on this podcast episode. You can go look that shit up. But it seems like they are doing something. And recently, this week, to be exact, I don't know when you're listening to this, but this week, whatever this week is, um, Stephon Diggs is going viral for sharing pink crystals
Yeah,
with
yeah, I saw that.
group of women. And
On the boat.
they also think that they have a very, very close, intimate, weird relationship with this man. And it looked like there were vibes going down. Now, granted, Cardi was on the same
She
vessel
was on the boat dancing.
with him,
Uh-huh.
but it doesn't seem like it was a good thing for him to be on that boat when the Patriots were doing a voluntary practices for.
Yeah, I agree. He should have been there. You can't be on a boat and then out of the voluntary joints. It's a
Yes,
bad look.
and as we're
Um,
I was gonna say, and
yeah.
as we're recording, to give this all context, as we're recording, they just put out a response to the video and stuff like that. But it also, so that whole situation kind of put Cardi B back into the whole, you know, culture sphere, because they're
Uh-huh.
dating and him being around all these women and sharing, you know, pink lemonade crystals and shit. It's a lot of things going on in this sense, but it brought up the very interesting aspect or question that I had for this episode, and that is if Cardi B's rap career is still alive. Now, we do
Uh-huh.
know that she only got one album out, and we do know that that album was very successful, and it was also
Uh-huh.
critically received well.
Uh-huh.
However, the person that she was dating at the time was also tied to that album.
Uh-huh.
And aside from rumors of her had like Offset being kind of her ghostwriter, um, she has been able to make music, but she hasn't made another album as of yet.
Yeah, she had to. She just gave verses here and there.
Right. And maybe a couple
Um,
performances here and there. But overall, do you think her career is still alive?
yes, I think it transferred over to something bigger than music though.
Mm.
She
How
just did
so?
a she just did a stadium date somewhere overseas or somewhere. I don't know where it was. And person went. She went there early, and she was like, "It was just amazing." So I think that I don't know, man. I think time is changing some stuff as well, and I think that the game is a little bit different. Social media lets people relevancy last longer. It's not really too many one hit wonders like it used to be. Um, and people can find ways to be relevant. Like she got the verses, she got this song, she got that song. She reminds me of like circumstance wise different, but like where they position themselves and how like the impact was like Lauryn Hill, where her first album,
Yeah.
and that the impact was so just into everything that it still resonates to this day and with like whatever. I don't know if Innovation of Privacy will reach that level. Some of those songs might. She got some really thought provoking songs on there. Um, but yeah, but I wonder what that really means for her though. I don't know.
I
I don't
agree.
know.
I agree. Now there has been chats or discussions or rumors about her making music in a studio. As
Mm-hmm.
recent as kind of the overall split up, like the official split up between the two.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't, one, based off of her recent songs, they sound like a lot of what came from Invasion of Privacy. Even kind of like the way some of the beats are set up. It feels a lot like Bodak Yellow or like even WAP in some cases. Like you could kind of see the same patterns. That might just be because she might be working with the same producer, which makes sense because if you got a successful relationship, might as well continue on with that. But
That's a
it'll be
fact.
it'll be interesting to see now with a form of pain that she has from leaving Offset, it will kind of see how she's able to kind of traject now that she is free from that relationship musically as well as officially, and kind of
We shall
finding out her
see if
own
it's
thing.
better. We
Yeah,
shall see if it's better.
yeah. Because if
We
Caribou
will
can do
find
it,
out.
I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure she can knock it out too. But
Uh,
she's still riding off of this influencer type shit, and then also
hmm
she's been in politics, so it only makes sense for
hmm
her to kind of be out of the game as more women continue to compete and shine.
It's
You know what I'm
also
saying?
it's also no money in rap. Your money from rap comes from the stuff that it brings you, the merch, the tours, the brand deals.
Yep.
That's where the rap comes. The actual like deals coming, but yeah,
I agree.
it's
I
different.
agree.
Yo, can we skip to can we do the centers and then can we skip to what we listen to?
Yeah, yeah. You don't want to do the American Music Award?
I don't give a fuck about that market either way. I don't give two shits. So I'm sorry, dog,
Okay,
and I'm about to fall asleep on this motherfucker. And you
it's
gonna
all
talk
good.
about that joint? I'm gonna be sleep over
All I'm
here
gonna
like we talk about
all I'm gonna
what?
say is Shabuzi was right, and
Shout out to
Eminem,
Shabuzi, man. Virginia
Ke-
own.
Kendrick should have won more awards. Okay, now let's go
I
to
agree with
centers.
that too. Amazing film, man. I'm glad you saw it. We didn't talk about it last time because we had a break in between. But
Yeah,
one of my favorite movies in the past few years. It was great to see in the theaters. So was the Mission Impossible 3. That's a great scene in theaters too. I'm actually
really.
happy to. Oh man, I enjoyed it, man. I took my son with me, and seeing him watch Tom Hanks for the first time,
Tom
Tom
Cruise.
Cruise stunts for the first time, bro. He was in there like, yo, that's crazy. And he seen the movie. He seen 1 through 7 at home. I think he did. So seeing that one, he was like, is he really doing that? And I think it just seeing on the big screen makes it feel different.
Yeah,
And it was cool to see him just be like, "Yo, that is crazy. That's really awesome. It's a great action movie." And that's what I liked about it because the fact that it did something for him. He really enjoyed it. And I'm like, "Oh, that's a movie should be doing." So I actually enjoyed Mission Impossible 3. It was a fun movie, action packed, and it's good. But anyway,
you said Mission
um,
Impossible 3,
whatever the new one is, 8, 9, Final
9.
Reckoning,
There's the final
10,
one.
10,
I think it's 10. I don't know,
10.
but yeah.
Yeah,
Have you played the game back then? I might
yeah. I
be.
remember the game. I told my son about it. The game was fire.
Game was hard, bro. Like I was surprised about how good it was. But
Yeah, me too.
no, that's super dope that you said that. I also loved Sinners. Um, it's probably one of my favorite movies of the year, easily. I do
Same.
think that there is a conversation about the use of religion in this movie, and I think that
hmm
the fact that they did use and religion within the black community is important. I also think the music for this whole entire thing was fire as fuck as well.
Yeah, it
Like
was. I agree with that too.
fucking good. Yeah. So I do think that it's a movie, and it also for me as a fan, it felt like kind of like a new coming of the structure that the Dust Till Dawn built. I was about to say
hmm
Dawn of the Dead, but Dust Till Dawn has actually built. So it's actually cool to see like the reverse of that, and
Yeah.
also to see that Ryan Coogler is stepping out into a new IP and being
hmm
successful with that because we don't get a lot of new IPs like that, in
I
more
thought that
recent
was dope
days.
too. One of my favorite things about it was that getting original IP
Yeah,
and get to keep it was
yeah.
pretty impactful.
While
It's a
still
great
having
story.
influences.
It's a great story. I love the Delta blues impact of it. I'm playing like the blues and stuff like that. It was a great. I enjoyed that movie a lot, man. It was one of my favorite movies of the year.
Yeah, yeah. We can go
Um,
into deep about that shit, but yeah, it's overall it was a really dope ass movie. I'm glad I said I do want to watch it again.
Worth seeing if you haven't seen it for sure.
Yeah, yeah,
In the
for
theaters,
sure.
in the theaters
Yeah,
while you can.
by yourself.
By itself. Oh wow. What are you listening to?
Oh man, I've been kind of all over the place right now. Let me
Same,
grab my phone real quick. Hold on.
same. I can go first. I can tell you. I've been listening to Anita Baker all day
Okay, all
today.
right.
Uh,
Hey there, travelers. Kaylee Cuoco here. Sorry to interrupt your music, great artist BT Dubs, but wouldn't you rather be there to hear it live? With Priceline, you can get out of your dreams and into your dream concert. They've got millions of travel deals to get you to that festival, gig, rave, soundbath, or sonic experience you've been dreaming of. Download the Priceline app today, and you can save up to 60% off hotels and up to 50% off flights. So don't just dream about that trip. Book it with Priceline.
Go to your happy price, Priceline.
This episode is brought to you by Amazon Prime. From streaming to shopping, Prime helps you get more out of your passions. So whether you're a fan of true crime or prefer a nail-biting novel from time to time, with services like Prime Video, Amazon Music, and fast free delivery, Prime makes it easy to get more out of whatever you're into or getting into. Visit Amazon.com/Prime to learn more.
Okay.
it might be from the Kendrick concert still because he really used a lot of Anita. Um, Listening to Kendrick, obviously. What else I was listening to? Q. I think Q albums Be With You. R&B album came out this year. It was so good, man. I'm still playing it. That was a good one. The Q joint. A lot of Bodie James. Really
Okay.
enjoying just how he raps and stuff like that. Oh my goodness. That's what comes to mind right now. My phone is dead, so I can't even pull up my shit.
Okay. So I've been listening to because of streaming university. I've been listening to Zadie Will. He got a new track that he sampled from I guess the 2000s, 2010s, like this real underground song. But he's freestyling over it. It's going viral. So I went back to the originals track, and it's a wild ass song. But the beat is hard as fuck. It's called Hold on, let me just make sure I get the words right. You know, it's called Dome Shuffle by STMG Them Guys. I've been blasting that. And I've also been blasting Get Jiggy by Zadie Will. I do like what this whole new sexy Jersey vibe that, you know, the Northeast is bringing. Kind of brings back our conversation about regional music coming back. Ninth Wonder, So in Love with You, had that track on play. Lost Comet. I stumbled across this TikTok that sampled his song Block Walking Whitney. So that shit has been hard. Suave, Off the Leash, been blasting that. What else? Some Nirvana. I was blasting Nirvana. Never mind. Went back to some Metallica. And then I also listened to Metatron by Goldlink. That is out right now. I like it. I like Metatron. It's pretty dope.
I need to
I
check it out. You told me about it last time.
Yeah, man. It's a nice little vibe. It's starting to get radio play now. I listened to it like, you know, in the background, but I kind of want to throw it in the car a couple more times, get to more details, see how that shit rocking. So that's what I've been listening to.
Man, great list. Thanks for tuning in. Sorry that I'm sounding so low energy, dog.
It's late as
two
fuck.
babies kicking my ass, and it's late. Please check out our website, recordreport.com. Follow the socials. It's not Vance B underscore no more, is it? It is.
It's Vance 64 underscore on X, but it's still Vance B underscore on everything else.
What he just said, boom. And you know, do what you gotta do, man. Send us some ones if you wanted to. You know, maybe you can, you know, get some coffee with it, but also
leave
make
us
a donation.
5 stars.
Leave us 5 stars. Leave us some reviews. Share with a friend, somebody you like, or just be like, "Hey, man, I want to talk to you about. I disagree with this point. I did a shitty job on the show. I want to talk about X, Y, and Z better than Weekend.
Please argue.
Come on, man. Please, man. Come on. Tell us what we wrong here. Tell us what we
argue
missed.
with us, son. We just want them comments, son.
Yeah, all that. Follow all the socials. If you check us out, you already know what they are. Yeah, that's all I got. Peace.
Yeah. Peace.